Hello everybody, welcome to Dr. Chan's Medical Ailments Forum today. So it's been quite some time since I posted any videos up because some of you might know that I'm a new mum. So my baby is already 12 weeks and a few days old and coming up to 13 weeks. So I thought, well, since she's sleeping right now, I'll take the opportunity to do a quick video on how to get your baby to sleep, or how to kind of create a sleep routine for them. Because obviously, being a doctor, we know all the theories about how to get the babies to sleep, and it's easy for us to just give the theory to the mums and say go and try them out and they must work because that's what the expert said. But actually, being a mum myself, I realized that quite a lot of the stuff that we teach our patients to do might not actually applicable to your own babies, because all babies are different. So I just want to spend some time on talking about my experience of how to get my baby to sleep, and also to incorporate with the expert advice as well. So basically what I recall is the first 4 weeks of being a new mum was the hardest period of time. It's because you never had a baby before. From 1 minute you have no baby, the next minute you're holding a baby and you don't know what to do. You might think a baby will sleep when they're tired. Well, that's not true, because they're new. They've never been living outside of your womb before. So it's quite a scary thing for them to handle, being outside the body, and they need comfort, they need warmth, they need to be fed, and also they need to know that you're there. So it's at the beginning, naive me telling me that, a baby needs to be fed every 3 hours, so I'll just feed the baby and then put the baby to sleep for 3 hours, then I can do whatever I want to do. Well, in reality, it wasn't like that. In fact, I just remember holding the baby all the time. After we fed her, then she will be crying because she wants comfort. Then you have to rock her and walk her up and down the corridor and trying to get her to sleep. And the moment you're trying to put her into the cot, she'll cry again because she felt the cold, from the mattress, and knowing that you're not holding her anymore. And it was a real struggle. But now I can tell you that she can just lie on the mat and sleep on her own without me rocking or walking her. And that's a miracle. Well, saying that, is it really a miracle? No, it's because we've been doing a routine for her, and I think routine is extremely important. Some people say, there's no point trying out a routine for a young baby because they're so new, they don't know anything about routine. In fact, there's no harm to try to introduce a little bit of routine bit by bit, maybe from 6 weeks onwards. Earlier if you want to try, but if it doesn't work, then don't worry, you can always try it later on. Most important thing is, if you need to rock them at the beginning, do, because what they need to know is that you're there for them. They cannot communicate, by words, but they can only communicate via cry. So if they're crying, generally is a need problem rather than being needy. So when they cry, they're either wanting food, they're uncomfortable, they might be cold, the nappy might be wet, etc. Or maybe they just want comfort. So if they do cry, I would suggest not to do the controlled crying, which we can talk about later on. Rather, doing the controlled crying when they're young, I think you should attend to the need and get them calmed. So they'll know that in the future, if they do cry, you'll be there for them. When they're a little bit older, maybe from 3 months onwards, then you can try to do the controlled crying, which is, some suggest that, if they cry, you don't have to run to them immediately, because that might create a bad habit for them to knowing that, if I cry, I'm going to get whatever I want. Different people do controlled crying differently. Some people got a different time scale. For example, some people say, it's okay to leave them to cry for 20 minutes. To be honest, that's too long for me. I think that it's okay for them to cry for a minute or two, but to make sure that they know that you're there. For example, if they started crying, you go and have a look at them and have a chat and say, are you okay? And just make sure that they're not in any discomfort. If they're fed, they're watered, they're warm, then you can go away and just reassure that you're there. And then if they're still crying after maybe a minute or so, just keep going back to reassure them that you were there. And hopefully, eventually, they'll learn that, you will go to comfort them, but not immediately, and they wouldn't become too needy. But there's so many different school of saying what you should do, but I'll leave that for yourself. So okay, so let's go back to talk about the routine for the baby. So what did we do? So as I said, if she was crying, we would still be rocking her at the beginning because she needed it. But later on, after we fed her, we keep on trying to put her back into her bed, even though if she was crying, to try to get her getting used to that this is where she sleeps rather than your arm. I just remember keep on trying and putting her back onto the cot and then picking her back out again to comfort her and putting her back. It's quite a lengthy process. And also it's important to introduce routines before bed. For example, we sometimes feed her maybe an hour or so before she's due to go to bed, and then we'll get her changed into her pajamas, and then turning the TV down, turning the light down, so she knows that there's a difference between night and day. So daytime you can be loud, you can leave the curtains open, lights on, just do your daily chores as per usual. But at night time, I would say from about 6 o'clock onwards, you should start to wind down, maybe play some nice background music just before she go to sleep, like some lullaby or nursery rhymes, so she knows that this is an association of, if I hear the music, I know that I'm going to bed. Or the changing into the pajamas would be a good thing, or maybe having a bath beforehand as well. So also I just want to share with you this leaflet that I got from the health visitor. I hope that's not showing in reverse, but I'll read it out to you. It said, "Is your child under 6 months? Did you know most babies need to learn how to sleep?" So if you're a new mum and you're in touch with health visitors in your local area, it's worth asking them for a copy, because at the back they tell you quite a lot of tips of how to help your baby to sleep. For example, stuff that we talked about already, like learn to recognize when your baby is tired. They generally will rub their eyes, they might be playing with their hair, they will be crying and become irritable. So create a routine for them, as we mentioned earlier on. Try not to be feeding try not to feed your baby to sleep, or try not to rock the baby to sleep. As I said at the beginning, you could do that, but when they get older, you're trying to avoid that, because they might learn that, oh, I need to be rocked before I go to sleep. If not, then I can't sleep. Then you might create another problem. And also make sure that you change the nappy before they go to bed, because some babies doesn't like having the nappy change at night. So it's always good to ensure that you change the nappy now, and if you use a good nappy, sometimes it can keep dry for like 8 to 12 hours, so they can sleep well as well. So I think the most important thing to know is the first 4 weeks of being a new mom is extremely difficult. You'll be very sleep deprived, and you always need support from other people, anyone, friends, family, partners. And remember that there's no harm trying sleep routine early, but don't feel defeated if it's not working initially, because it takes me quite a long time to get that established as well. But once it's established, you can get your evening back. And make sure you ask your midwife for one of these leaflets. They're very useful for you. Okay, so next time round, I'm going to share my birth experience with you, and also tell you something that your midwife or your health assistant will never tell you about being a mum. Okay, so until next time we meet, take care of yourself. Bye bye.